I'm not saying any of this to make anybody feel bad and feel like they can't be who they want to be or show up in the world the way they want to show up. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shameka if you are new, and if you're joining us for the first time, make sure you click that subscribe button, click the bell so you can be notified every time I post, and make sure you leave a comment down below. So today's video is going to be a conversation about femininity, and the question that I want to pose to you all and to myself is femininity rooted in a characteristic or an aesthetic? Now, what made this question even come to mind is a fellow YouTuber by the name of T posted a video a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty much a think piece video. I love watching think piece videos. That's how I come up with some of my topics. That's how I find some inspiration sometimes. Sometimes I'll just be listening to another creator and they'll say something and it'll set off a light bulb in my head, and now I'm talking about something similar on my channel. So I will make sure that I link T's video down below in the description box for you guys. But in the video, she kind of posed the question of, well, I don't want to say she posed the question. She challenged whether femininity is rooted in an aesthetic or characteristics. And she stated how many femininity content creators, such as myself, she spoke about how many of us say that femininity is rooted in the 7 characteristics: receptiveness, grace, community, self-care, intuition, persuasion, and attraction. And although I do agree that femininity is based in those traits, maybe not all 7, give or take here and there, but I do believe that femininity is surrounded by most of those characteristics, T was saying that that's a lie, and that femininity in 2022 is rooted in an aesthetic and how you look, how you dress, how you talk, how you walk, your hair texture, your skin color, and so forth and so on. T specifically said that she believes that the definition of femininity, or what it means to be feminine and what femininity actually looks like, is rooted in a European aesthetic. So as we know, black girls, we have our vibe, we have our aesthetic, we have our certain look, especially us black girls who were born and raised in the hood, who come from your traditional African American family. So you can catch us with the bamboo earrings, the big chunky jewelry, the long nails, the colorful wigs and weaves. And although some of us love that, in society, that type of dress or that type of style is deemed the opposite of feminine. It's actually looked at to be masculine. I've said many times before that we have certain, the female rap culture. Many of the female rappers are not looked at and regarded as feminine women. They are actually looked at and viewed as masculine. And to a certain degree, I have agreed with this notion that many female rappers, Young Miami, JT, Nicki Minaj, just to name drop a few, are masculine to me. So after watching T's video, it made me take a step back and think to myself, why do I feel like women like Nicki Minaj and the girls who represent the hood aesthetic and who dress a certain way or present themselves a certain way, why don't I view them as feminine? What about them is not feminine to me? If femininity is all about characteristics, and I'm saying that those women are not feminine because of how they look and the way they dress, then I'm not actually being true to what I say femininity is rooted in. So then I had to take a step back and ask myself, okay, Shameka, who told you what it meant to be feminine? How did you see examples of what it meant to be feminine? And the truth is, if we take it all the way back to where femininity originated from, it was not with the idea of the black woman in mind. And so when we mention the black woman's style or aesthetic, we have to think about where did this come from and how was it originated? And as T pointed out in her video, back in the day, still today, black women, black people, the black community, we are not afforded the same opportunities and we do not have the same resources. We are not able to afford the finer things in life when it comes to the way we dress or the way we style ourselves. And so with that being said, we had to be creative as a community. With so limited resources, we had to use the money that we had and get creative and find a way to express ourselves. And so fast forward to the 20th century, and many of the trends or styles that we invented, other races have adopted those and made them into their own. And it's funny how when we do it, the long nails, the colorful hair, the bamboo earrings, the braids, all of those things, when we do it, it's considered ghetto or tacky. But when the European cultures do it or the white women do it, it's considered vogue or couture or high fashion or something of the sort. And so with all that being said, when I sit back and I ask myself, is femininity rooted in characteristics or an aesthetic? I have to be honest and say that it's probably rooted in the aesthetic and how a woman appears to look, appears to dress, and presents herself when she shows up in the world. And I feel like we see it every day. We may not notice it, but subtly it's there. It's the reason why the girls who are half black and half white can rise to the top of the YouTube food chain so quickly, whereas the typical African American girl who looks like she's black, she is not racially ambiguous, her journey to the top may take a little while longer. It's why, as T mentioned in her video, when we think of the feminine woman in the African American sense, we think of a woman like Lori Harvey, someone who looks racially ambiguous, versus a woman like Simone Biles, who is as equally as feminine, but she's not brought up, she's not talked about, and she's not the person who comes to mind when we think about a feminine woman. Femininity and how we see it as millennials has everything to do with an aesthetic and popularity. Instagram has subconsciously contributed to us judging something or putting a label on something based on how it looks instead of how it genuinely feels or what it genuinely is. So if a woman has a deeper voice, we're going to automatically write her off as masculine versus really paying attention to her characteristics and seeing like, okay, is she feminine? But because of how she looks or sounds, we're going to say that she's masculine. Just going off of the exterior instead of really focusing on what femininity should be about, which is the interior. All in all, femininity shouldn't be about a look. It should be about the way a woman makes you feel, or a man, because even men can be feminine, but it's all about how the individual makes you feel. Is the woman nurturing? Is she involved in her community? Is she receptive, kind, passionate, and persuasive? Those are the things that make a woman feminine, not the way she dresses or shows up in the world. But in 2022, everything is about the way that it looks. So to be a feminine woman in 2022, not only do you have to possess the 7 characteristics or look as though you possess the 7 characteristics of a feminine woman, you also have to look the part. And in so many ways, that means to stifle your creativity as a woman and conform into what the European beauty standard is. And so with all that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'm not saying any of this to make anybody feel bad and feel like they can't be who they want to be or show up in the world the way they want to show up. I'm just having merely another think piece for us to talk about it in the comment section. But what I do want to say is that do what makes you happy and do what makes you feel good. And if that means, I hate to say this, but conforming to what society says a feminine woman should look like, then do that. As long as it's true to you and true to your happiness and you're not doing it to appease to anyone else. So just because I do feel like femininity is kind of rooted in an aesthetic, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop trying to be the feminine woman that I envision for myself, because that's what makes me happy. At the end of the day, you should do what makes you happy as well. Do what brings you joy. Most importantly, live your life for you and for your own happiness and not for the acceptance or approval of others. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a comment down below and let me know, do you guys think that femininity is rooted in an aesthetic, or do you think that when I speak about it and when other commentators who talk about the subject and teach us the subject matter of femininity, do you think that it's really rooted in the characteristics of a feminine woman? Let me know. I want to hear what you guys think. So like I said, leave a comment down below and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.